Welcome to another installment of This Is Not Normal on the Political Drain podcast with Drill Sergeant Doug, aka Admin Doug, a U.S. Army veteran, teacher, musician, and family man from Jamaica, now fights for justice and democracy through commentary and humor. Follow him on YouTube at Political Drain and at Sons of Liberty Official as Drill Sergeant, aka Admin Doug, continues to protect our freedoms.
I've said this before, but just as a reminder, I do know somebody very, very close to this case who is in a position to know virtually everything. Not everything, but virtually everything. And this person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls.
Bro. What's up, YouTube? Drill Sergeant here. Yeah. So first thing I'm going to start with is, I told y'all. When everybody in the very beginning of this was saying that Epstein was going to be the thing that breaks the camel's back, was going to be the thing that makes MAGA turn. Oh, look at all the Q people. Bro. I only showed you a little bit. What I'm going to do is show you the entire horrifying, disgusting mental gymnastics being done on a daily basis by these degenerate, disgusting, filthy enablers. Anything enablers. When I say anything, I want to remind you that the things that Caligula's did in Rome, I want to remind you that slavery happened by the same people who tried to teach their slaves the Bible. You're not ready yet if you think there's something that will break them. Watch this from Megyn Kelly.
I've said this before, but just as a reminder, I do know somebody very, very close to this case who is in a position to know virtually everything. Not everything, but virtually everything. And this person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls. And I realize this is disgusting. I'm definitely not trying to make an excuse for this. I'm just giving you facts. That he wasn't into like 8-year-olds, but he liked the very young teen types that could pass for even younger than they were, but would look legal to a passerby. And that is what I believed, and that was what I reliably was told for many years. And it wasn't until we heard from Pam Bondi that they had tens of thousands of videos of alleged, forgive me, they used to call it oh no, he was an actual only a gets off on young children videos. She's never clarified it. I don't know whether it's true. I have to be honest. I don't really trust Pam Bondi's word on the Epstein matters anymore. Yeah, so I don't know what's true about him, but we have yet to see anybody come forward and say, I was I was under 10. I was under 14 when I first came within his purview. Look, you can say that's a distinction without a difference.
No, it's not.
I think there is a difference. Yeah. There's a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Bro. Allow me to explain what you just heard. Not that you need me to explain what you just heard, but its social ramifications need explaining. Number one, let's start with the fact that Megyn Kelly doesn't understand the age of consent. The lowest age of consent in America is 16. She didn't even go above 15. So when she said in the beginning,
that Jeffrey Epstein was not a pedophile, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls.
He was into the barely legal type. He liked 15-year-old girls. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. The age of consent, the lowest in America is 16. And those that low that aren't 18 and go to 16, that's the other states that are full of Republicans who are full of PDOfiles. All of that is the southern states, where they love to marry their sisters and their cousins and their daughters. That's one. So when you think that it's going to break them, remind yourself that all of those Republican states, those deep red areas in Mississippi and Georgia, they like that. You forgot? They lowered the age to 16 for that purpose. Number two.
And it wasn't until we heard from Pam Bondi that they had tens of thousands of videos of alleged on his computer that for the first time I thought, oh, no, he was an actual only gets off on young children abuse.
Bro, up until then, you didn't think Epstein was a pedophile. What are the social ramifications of people who think like this? How many of you think like this? What are you talking about? Well, there's one social ramification that we all need to be careful of. How many 15-year-olds did she watch and turn away from, and turn her eyes, avert her stare, her gaze from? First of all, she thought 15 was barely legal. It was illegal, not barely legal. It's illegal in all states. 16 in the deep red states where they like pedophiles and vote for them and raise them and love them and encourage them in their homes and their churches. Not even that was good enough for Megyn Kelly. And not even that is worth crying about for a MAGA. But then, how many 15-year-olds did you see do that? And you said, well, at least they're not a real pedophile. Only when they're 8 years old. Then, have you seen a 15-year-old lately? Who thinks a 15-year-old could pass? She said they could pass. Pass is what? A child? Getting into their quinceañera? A 15-year-old is not a young child. What are the social ramifications of that? How many of you believe that? How many of you think like that? How many of you have turned your gaze? As a matter of fact, how many of you treat your 15-year-old like an adult? I'd like to know. You didn't know for all those years you had someone close to him, and that's another point. Who do you know that's close to him, Megyn Kelly? What? I don't know anybody close to Epstein. Do you? YouTube? Who do you know that's close to him for years? That knows that he's sleeping with, well, you know, the right age of 15-year-olds. Who do you know? Where are you? What are you doing with these people? Megyn Kelly? What have you done with these people? Megyn Kelly? How many 15-year-olds? Bro, I told you. When I said this is just a moment that we use to organize because it will not be the breaking point. Just because you think it's disgusting, do not forget that all of the red states, the deep red religious Bible Belt states, lowered the age of consent because they love this. They see this as just another day. And the last point.
She's never clarified it. I don't know whether it's true. I have to be honest. I don't really trust Pam Bondi's word on the Epstein matters anymore. Yeah, so I don't know what's true about him, but we have yet to see anybody come forward and say, I was I was under 10. I was under 14 when I first came within his purview. You can say that's a distinction without a difference.
No, it's not.
I think there is a difference. Yeah. There's a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Now you see the end, the little crack, the seed, so that her viewers can say, maybe Epstein wasn't even a pedophile at all. I don't trust Pam Bondi. I mean, as long as they were 15, I don't believe that there were 10 now. Watch my words, YouTube. Once you're in a cult, you can give your wife away to the leader, your daughter away to the leader. Once you're in a cult, you can murder, kill, drink blood. Once you're in a cult, your mind has turned to mush. Now you can be taken away from that and have it come back. But not while you're still in it. Not while you're still watching Megyn Kelly. That lady next to her, let's not forget, said, "You're right, Megyn Kelly. There is a difference. It's a big distinction between a 5-year-old and a 15-year-old. I'm sorry, yeah, there is. And they're both just as gross." Have you turned your eyes from a grown man with a 15-year-old? Would you? Imagine the person who would for years. And it was only after Pam Bondi said that they had tapes of people under 10 that they felt concerned about it. This will not break the camel's back. This is as easily brushed away as slavery, or as it was in ancient Rome when Caligula had daughters having relations with their own mothers in front of crowds. Because he knew, like I know, that in order to turn the human mind to degradate, all you have to do is continue to force them to watch. Hello, MAGA. That's you. Just a quick aside, the social ramifications as well, not just MAGA, the people on the right, the deep red states that lowered it to 16, they lowered it to 16 so that powerful people could continue to afford those people power. The people who voted for them, who feel better than white folks. The social ramifications are, how long until they change it to 15 in Mississippi, Georgia, Tennessee, and Arkansas? How long until they change it to 15? Well, maybe 14. In order to keep the people in power who make them feel powerful. Answers, anybody? Expect more. Expect worse. And expect a floor. What I mean by a floor is when you say, well, they're going to peel off or they're going to turn away, you're wrong. There will always be 30 to 40% of the population that will turn away from the grossest, most disgusting. As a matter of fact, vote for it and even participate in it. I told you.
Hey, yeah, you. Before you click away to watch someone unbox a tactical toothbrush, let's talk about something real. Political Drain isn't just another content mill. We're a digital front in a very real war. Not with bullets, but with ideas, with action, and with solidarity. We pair urgent news with critical education. And we build community around actual resistance, not the hashtag kind. The kind that moves. But here's the thing. None of this is free. It isn't. Behind every video is time, labor, research, and some weird guy asking if we're going to pay the hosting bill. And yeah, some of that money goes to things we can't necessarily say out loud. If you know, you know. Let's just say Our special ops aren't Call of Duty LARPers. They're people making real moves to protect, uplift, and organize. You're not just funding a channel. You're funding a resistance network in a world where capital still calls the shots. Unfortunately, in a system built on artificial scarcity, even mutual aid has a price tag. And if we want to grow, if we want to win, we need your help. We need your help. So if you've got even a few bucks to spare, toss it our way. It's not for ads. It's not for merch drops, but for people making moves in the shadows so others can do it in the light. It's just us and you. So fund the mission, fund the fight, fund the future, because nobody's coming to save us. We save each other. That's how this works. Follow us on all these things you see here, and our link tree is in the description. Maybe even get some merch.
That was the Political Drain podcast, which can be heard on www.groovechillradio.com/political-drain and can be viewed on the Political Drain YouTube channel anytime. Once again, thank you for listening to Groove Chill as we resist fascism in any form, pursue democracy, peace, and love.